It is the world's most popular additive, a source of energy, a preservative, and a universal treat. But achieving this level of pristine, crystalline purity requires immense industrial effort. Before it reaches your table, sugar begins as a tough, fibrous giant grass. Transforming it requires a race against time, brute mechanical force, and delicate chemical engineering. Welcome inside the machine. This is the journey of modern sugar production, beginning here, in fields that capture sunlight and convert it into sucrose. The process starts with the harvest. These massive machines operate around the clock during the crush season, simultaneously topping the leafy greens and slicing the heavy stalks at the base. Speed is essential. Once cut, the sugarcane immediately begins to ferment, losing sugar content to bacteria. The factory operates 24/7 to process the cane within hours of harvest. To maintain purity and maximize yield, the logistical chain is relentless. Trucks arrive day and night, ensuring the factory's massive appetite for raw material is constantly fed. Every load is weighed and sampled upon arrival. Farmers are paid based not just on tonnage, but on the sugar content quality of their cane, incentivizing better crops. At the tipping bay, hydraulic lifts dump tons of raw cane into the receiving pits in seconds. From here, the process transitions from agricultural logistics to industrial processing. Massive drag chain conveyors known as feeder tables move the raw cane forward, regulating the flow into the mill to prevent jams and ensure a consistent feed rate. Before processing, the cane must be cleaned. High-pressure water jets strip away field mud, rocks, and sand, which could otherwise damage the expensive machinery downstream. To extract the juice, you cannot just squeeze a whole stick. First, high-speed rotating knives chop the tough cane into a coarse, fibrous material. The chopped cane is then fed into a heavy-duty shredder. Swinging hammers pulverize the fiber, rupturing over 90% of the plant cells to fully expose the sucrose-rich juice inside. This fibrous pulp now enters the heart of the factory, the crushing train. A series of massive hydraulic roller mills will squeeze the juice out through brute force. Under tons of hydraulic pressure, the first mill extracts the bulk of the juice. It gushes out, dark and cloudy, smelling intensely of sweet grass. This raw juice is rich in sugar, but also contains soil, fiber particles, and natural plant waxes that must be removed. To get every last drop of sugar, a process called imbibition is used. Hot water is sprayed onto the fiber between mills, diluting the remaining sugar so it can be squeezed out in the next stage. By the final mill, over 96% of the sugar has been extracted. The remaining dry fiber, called bagasse, is not wasted.
Exiting the fifth and final roller mill, the bagasse is now completely dry and ready for the boiler house.
The bagasse is conveyed directly to the factory's furnaces. This facility is self-powering, burning the waste fiber to generate all the steam and electricity needed for the process. Inside the boilers, the bagasse burns furiously, heating water into high-pressure steam that drives the mill turbines and heats the process tanks. It is a closed-loop energy system. Back at the juice line, the raw liquid is passed over vibrating screens to remove fine fiber particles, known as kush, before chemical treatment begins. Accurate measurement is crucial. The juice is weighed in automatic batch scales to track exactly how much sugar is entering the chemical processing stage. The juice is now heated in heat exchangers to kill any remaining bacteria and stop fermentation. Heat also speeds up the chemical reactions in the next step. To remove impurities, chemistry is required. Milk of lime is added to raise the pH and neutralize natural acids. This causes soluble non-sugars to become insoluble. The treated juice enters massive settling tanks called clarifiers. Here, gravity takes over in a slow, continuous process.
The flow rate on the third clarifier is stabilizing. Yes, the polymer dosage seems correct now. Let's keep monitoring the turbidity levels.
Polymers are added to bind impurities together, making them heavy. They sink to the bottom as mud, while clear, purified juice rises to the top and is drawn off. The result is a dramatic transformation. The dark, turbid liquid is now a clear, golden juice, ready for concentration. The settled mud at the bottom of the clarifier still contains valuable sugar. It is pumped to rotary vacuum filters to recover the remaining juice.
As the drum turns through the thick mud, the vacuum separates the remaining juice, followed by a high-pressure wash to recover the sugar.
The remaining dry mud, called filter cake, is scraped off and transported back to the farms to be used as a nutrient-rich fertilizer, closing another ecological loop. The clear juice is still 85% water. To concentrate it into syrup, it must be boiled, but boiling at normal temperatures would caramelize and ruin the sugar. The solution is to boil under a vacuum. By lowering the pressure, the juice boils at much lower temperatures, around 65 degrees Celsius, preserving the sucrose and saving energy. In a multiple effect system, the steam boiled off from one tank is used to heat the next tank in the series, making the process incredibly energy efficient. After passing through 5 stages of evaporation, the liquid emerges as a thick, golden syrup, now containing about 65% solids. It is ready for crystallization. The syrup is pumped to huge vacuum pans for the final, critical step, crystallization. This is where the art of sugar making truly begins. Skilled operators, known as pan boilers, manage this delicate process. They must maintain a precise state of supersaturation, where the syrup wants to push the sugar out of the liquid form. To start the process, a precise amount of microscopic sugar dust is injected into the pan. These seeds provide a foundation for the sugar in the syrup to latch onto and grow. As more syrup is added and water is boiled off, the crystals grow larger. The resulting mixture of sugar crystals suspended in heavy molasses is called masquite. Once the crystals reach the target size, the batch, called a strike, is dropped into holding tanks, ready for separation. To separate the pristine crystals from the dark molasses, the masquite is fed into high-speed centrifuges, essentially giant industrial salad spinners.
Check the rescue levels.
Each basket is loaded with a precise charge of the crystal molasses mixture before the high-speed spin cycle begins. Spinning at over 1,200 revolutions per minute, immense centrifugal force throws the liquid molasses through the mesh basket, while the solid sugar crystals are trapped against the wall. To achieve final purity, a quick burst of hot water is sprayed onto the crystals while they spin, washing away the last trace of brown molasses coating. A final shot of steam sterilizes the sugar and adds heat, which will help the crystals dry rapidly once they leave the centrifuge. A mechanical plow then scrapes the clean, damp sugar crystals out of the basket and down a chute, ready for drying. The separated molasses is collected below. It may be reboiled to extract lower-grade sugars or sold for animal feed and ethanol production.
This byproduct is collected for use in animal feed, ethanol production, or further processing.
The sugar emerging from the centrifuges is pure white, but still contains about 1% moisture. It looks and feels like wet snow. To prevent it from turning into a solid brick in the bag, the sugar must be completely dried. It enters a massive rotary drum dryer. Inside the drum, lifters shower the sugar through a current of hot, filtered air. This gentle tumbling action removes remaining moisture without damaging the crystal structure. Immediately after drying, the sugar is cooled with ambient air. If packed hot, condensation would form later, ruining the product. The dry, free-flowing sugar is passed over vibrating screens to ensure uniform crystal size and remove any lumps that may have formed. Samples are taken constantly to the on-site laboratory. Technicians analyze moisture, grain size, and purity, ensuring the final product meets strict international standards of 99.9% sucrose. The finished sugar is conveyed to enormous storage silos, some capable of holding tens of thousands of tons, awaiting packaging and distribution. Large industrial customers receive sugar in bulk. Dedicated road tankers are filled directly from the silos in a matter of minutes. For commercial trade, sugar is packed into 50 kilograms bags. High-speed automated lines fill, weigh, and sew these heavy bags with incredible speed and precision. Heavy lifting is done by robots. Automated palletizers stack the 50 kilograms bags in precise interlocking patterns, preparing them for safe transport. Once stacked, the pallets are automatically wrapped in layers of stretch film. This secures the load for transport and provides a vital barrier against moisture. In a separate, ultra-hygienic hall, retail products are created. High-speed machines form, fill, and seal thousands of 1 kilogram consumer packets every hour. These machines operate in a blur, taking a roll of flat packaging film, forming it into a tube, filling it with a precise dose of sugar, and sealing it shut in a fraction of a second. Every single retail packet passes through sensitive metal detectors and automatic check weighers. Any product that doesn't meet strict specifications is instantly rejected from the line. The individual packs are automatically collated and loaded into cardboard shipping cartons, which are then sealed and labeled for inventory tracking. The finished pallets are stored in massive warehouses, ready to be dispatched to markets around the world. The journey is almost complete. Forklifts load the pallets onto trucks, beginning the final leg of distribution to supermarkets and food manufacturers. From a rugged grass harvested in the mud, we have achieved a chemical purity of over 99.9% sucrose. A journey defined by brute force. Delicate thermodynamics. And massive scale engineering. It is a marvel of self-sustaining industry, where the plant provides both the product and the power to create it. So the next time you sweeten your coffee or bake a cake, remember the extraordinary journey inside the machine that made it possible.